The creative industry, whether it's drawing, painting, photography, or video, is a hard place to make a living. And a lot of us end up getting a 9 to 5 job so that we can cover our basic expenses. And a lot of times this job somehow relates to the medium of art that we create. If I look at my own self for an example, I've had jobs ranging from working in public TV as a studio assistant all the way to working at one of the top hospitals as a surgical videographer and creating courses for doctors and medical students. None of these jobs were exactly what I wanted to do, but they allowed me to have the freedom to pursue those creative passions in my free time. And they helped cover expenses so I didn't have to make those ideas work financially. It was okay if they made no money or they took money away because I had another job to cover that cost. And that can be a really amazing feeling. But at the same time, working 40 hours a week at a job that's kind of what you want to be doing, but not really, it can be really draining and it can be hard to go home and feel like you have the energy or the time to pursue those creative ideas that you've thought about, that you're really passionate about. Sometimes you want to have a weekend to just kind of go outside, enjoy the nice weather, or clean your house. And the last thing you want to be doing, at least in my case, is staring at a computer screen to edit or setting up a bunch of lights to film a video. But I think it's really important that we find the time and the energy to do those things. I think those projects are where artists can find fulfillment while also having a full-time job to cover expenses. I don't think anyone gets into the creative field thinking they're going to make a ton of money or thinking it's going to be really easy to have a stable income just creating with that medium and not having a second job. A lot of artists I've talked to just kind of feel like that second job is a part of the lifestyle, especially when you're starting out. 7 a.m. We're gonna head up to work. Hopefully get there by like 8:30ish. I don't know. I'm not totally sure that's gonna happen just because there's a lot of construction. Most artists have this internal drive, this need to create. But having a 9 to 5 can kind of pull time and pull energy away from that, and it makes it hard to balance the two. And it's really easy to stop creating and just get stuck into the daily patterns of regular life. But as with all things, you won't have time for it until you make time for it. And that's something that I've been trying to do a lot with my own work. There's a lot of ways that I've found that I've wasted time. Scrolling on my phone, I've had to just completely delete TikTok off of my phone because it just wastes way too much time. And instead of spending those 20-30 minutes scrolling mindlessly, I can use it as a chance to sketch a little bit or edit a few photos or work on a video edit. And those chunks of time really can add up. Doing this can help kind of feed that creative mind, and I've always found that once I start making more, it's a lot easier to keep making, but once I stop and have to try and restart, it's a lot harder. It's kind of like a campfire. Once the fire's going, it's easy to just keep it fed if you add more logs, but if it dies out, it's a lot harder to get it started. But I don't think this necessarily solves the issue. Those small chunks of time can really add up, but it's hard to get into that creative flow without spending an hour or two in that creative zone. And so I think just like with exercising or learning a language, you have to set aside a chunk of time that's just for whatever creative project you're working on. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to kind of tackle those larger projects. Now, this isn't to say that you should go crazy and wake up super early, go to bed super late, just so you can work on projects. It's about finding balance within whatever schedule you have. This whole idea is the reason why I make these videos. None of these are going to be masterpieces, but they help give me the drive to create and make sure I carve out time every week just to devote to my art. I found that the more time I spend outside of my 9 to 5 creating, the more desire I have to create and make sure I am carving out that time every week. I would be interested to know how you carve out time or how you make sure you're able to spend the time to devote to your art, especially if you are one of those people who have a 9 to 5 while working on another creative project. Personally, I can't really think of a world where I'm not creating. Can you?